Good evening. Special lecture of research methodology organized by Rashtrobigyan Charcha Kendra. Today's topic is issues and challenges of field work. Today's speaker, Professor, Senior Professor, Department of Sociology, Faculty of Social Science, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, Secretary of Indian Sociological Society. And a short introduction, ma'am. Shweta Prasad is a professor at the Department of Sociology, Faculty of Social Science, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. She is presently the Secretary of Indian Sociological Society. Before that, she has been a member of the Managing Committee of the Indian Sociological Society. She has also been a convener, Gender Studies of the Indian Sociological Society from January 2015 to December 2017. Professor Prasad is the former director, Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, Banaras Hindu University. She has been a UGC Research awardee 2014-16, University Grants Commission, New Delhi. She has also been credited with the Leadership Training Award from Asian Women in Agriculture, R&D, by the International Rice Research Institute, Philippines. She has completed 4 projects with fundings from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Bank, the USAID, and the UGC. She is actively engaged in research in the areas of gender, environment, and climate change, globalization, and gender violence against women, etc. Professor Prasad has completed 2 consultancy projects, an international consultancy jointly with the University of Washington and Perth, Seattle, USA, and 1 national consultancy from GAL India Limited. Recently, Professor Prasad has completed 12 projects as the chairperson, multidisciplinary expert committees constituted by the government of Uttar Pradesh under Land Acquisitions, Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013. She has been nominated member RUSHA, Rashtriya Uच्च Shiksha Abhiyan, Utkal University, Odisha for few years. In 2022, Professor Prasad joined as visiting fellow Michigan State University for a short stint. Currently, she is working on a collaborative project with Michigan State University. She has also been awarded to transdisciplinary projects under the IOE, Banaras Hindu University. Her most recent publication titled Gender, Environment and Sustainable Development, Challenges and Responses from India, published by Rutledge, Taylor and Francis Group, is an anthology based on India. So many congratulations, ma'am, and thank you and spend time. So over you, ma'am, please start.
Ma'am, please unmute.
So thank you. Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you, Rashtrobigyan Charcha Kendra, for having me here, Dr. Somiran, and members associated with the Rashtrobigyan Charcha Kendra. Though I can speak in Bangla also, but I'm not very fluent in Bangla. Maybe we can take questions in Bangla. So let us start with the issue on which we are discussing today. In fact, we are here for today. That is issues and challenges in field work. And whenever, in fact, we decide to do some kind of research, there are certain stages of research that we have to complete before we enter the field. So the stages of field work, mainly what we do, suppose you are a research scholar, generally we select a topic based on our own interest area, And after the selection of topic, maybe before that also, review of literature is done, basically to identify the gap in the area. And after the gap has been identified, topic has been finalized and narrowed down to some particular area, and then what, depending on the nature of the issue we are going to study, we finalize the other details, like what kind of research design we are going to take, research questions, what will be the research questions we are going to answer through our research work, then research design, research methodology, and methods of data collection. So everything depends, in fact, on the preceding factor, the factor which we decide at one stage will decide our choice of another factor at the next level. So suppose if we have to decide the methodology or the method, after that method we have to go back to the ontology, then to the epistemology, then methodology. Everything is related to each other, and when we have decided all these things, we enter the field. Not that we enter our field abruptly. For entering field also there are lots of planning that undergo in the process. Before entering field, area has to be identified. Again, area identification of area is based on what kind of topic we are studying, what kind of respondents we are going to take, and which area will be suitable for this particular type of study. Once the area is fixed, the universe is fixed, sampling is done, then generally we enter the field first for pilot study, then for main data collection. During pilot testing, we get familiarized with the field, and depending on our experience of field, we may change some questions and again enter the field for proper data collection. So, field work can be done individually also, like in PhD work, and field work can be done in a team also. Like there are many projects which we do where we hire field investigators. So, fieldwork can be a collective exercise also, and an individual exercise also. So, once we have decided the field and made all the necessary arrangements, what we do, we try and get familiarized with the field situation, which is very important. And especially if the culture of the field is different than our own culture, then we have to familiarize the investigators with the culture of the field. After making all these arrangements, that we know the field, that we have trained the investigators, and that now things are in control, and we may embark upon the field study journey, we enter the field. But let me tell you that field situation is a dynamic situation, and nothing is fixed when we talk about field. It is highly unpredictable, with many complexities. In fact, it may unfold itself in its own way. So, because context, people, and other factors, everything can in fact influence our plan of fieldwork, our timeline, the resources that we are going to invest. Everything can change or go haywire if we are in the field and we have actually begun the field study. However, we can still keep things under control to a certain level by preparing and planning, and in fact meticulously planning every stage of field work what we are going to do in field, arranging logistics, uh, how would we reach the field, where would we stay, what all are needed, uh, permissions from the institutions, permission from the ethical committee if the uh, field work or the issue we are going to study relates to that. So after all these planning we enter the field, and the first thing we have to do for that is to identify a gatekeeper or approach a gatekeeper, the person whom we know. It may be a local leader, it may be some elder community person, or some officials. So someone should be known there, not that we enter the field only when someone is known in the field. There may be situations, in fact there are generally situations when no one is known in the field. In that case we approach someone who can be approached, and show them our credentials like letter of introduction from the institutions, permission by the institution, something, or the identity card which in fact gives legitimacy to what we are trying to do in field. After that, showing all these things and entering the field, like suppose everything is going well and we enter the field. After entering the field also we have to uh, develop trust between the members of that particular community. We have to establish a kind of rapport, addressing their concerns, addressing the kind of skepticism they might be having related to our presence in their particular area. So the challenges starts from this stage, and even before we can take certain stages and related challenge. But the real challenge starts from here, when we have entered the field and we are trying to build trust, build rapport, addressing the concerns. The real challenge starts from here, because the moment you enter the field, many of the respondents would immediately say that why are you here for? Are you a government agent? Are you an agent of some agency? What would be benefit to us by your answering to your questions? So all these questions will be thrown at you the moment you enter the field. You'll have to convince them that you are here only for academic purposes, and that data collection is important. Also you'll have to convince them that the data collected will not be shared anywhere other than academic purposes, because they may be doubtful that what are you going to do with the data collected. So convincing them and taking them in confidence will be the first challenge that you face when you enter the field work. So for that you have to uh, be honest. Yes, I would say to be honest is the best policy, because if you are not honest they are anyway going to find it out, and then you'll land in bigger problem. So be very very honest that what are your purposes, what are you going to do with the data collected. Informing them about their rights, will come to that later. So, and one more thing, like when you prepare for the field work, you have to understand the area, the context, the respondents to a certain level, then background, language, culture, geography, um, All these things will be important for your field work, for smooth conduct or of your field work. So you should have as much as knowledge as possible, as much understanding of the field as possible. So after you have prepared, gained access to field, and established your legitimacy, the actual process of data collection starts, and there are several issues related to data collection and challenges as well that you're going to face when you start the data collection. So when you start your field work, mainly engage in three types of activities. First is you see around, observe people. So the act of observation. Then you start asking questions, start conversation, and start listening to them. So the conversation and the process of interview begins. And then thirdly, you record whatever you are saying or whatever you are hearing. So these three things immediately starts when you enter a field. Then suppose you have entered a field, and like I was telling about language, that is very important. Appearance, that is very important. I would like to take one example of language, how you should speak, or at least try to speak the language spoken by the people of the area where you are going for field work. If you try to show off, or if you are not able to convey in both the cases, your data collection is going to be negatively influenced. I remember one case, and it was a case of it was a project being run by the Center for Women's Studies, Banaras Hindu University, and it was a state level project where one of the research associates of the center was leading the project, and due to some bias or complex, I would say complex, due to some kind of complex, she used to prove that she knows many things which others don't know. And one thing which she used to do is to speak in English with the villagers. She was working with the people who were not literate, who were, even if they were literate, not, they did not know English, they could not understand English or speak English, but the leader of the team would communicate in English, and that was raising concerns because the people of the area, the respondents, they were getting irritated by the use of English every now and then. So the center officials, they approached me, saying that would you lead this team to collect data. I was obviously not in a position to do that. I said, what is the issue? They explained the situation, that they are not we are not get able to collect data because of what is being done, communication in English every now and then, which is irritating the people of the village. One thing is speaking in language which they don't understand. Another thing is speaking in language which they are not able to understand. Here, use of totally different language is not required. You can speak in Bangla in a project in West Bengal, is still not able to communicate what you are looking for, or what do you expect from your respondents. So communicating in proper way, that is also important. If we are talking of language, culture also matters, because if you are going for field work in familiar culture, you won't face problem. But if you are going for field work in some alien culture, you have to dress like them, you have to speak like them, you have to behave like them. So, getting acquainted with the culture of the place is very important. Here, I would take another example. In fact, this project was I was one of the partners in this project. The project was it was a consultancy by Path Seattle, and we were combining University of Washington and Banaras Hindu University. I was leading the consultancy. So a team was there. It was Corona period, and lockdown was in place, so the things were not very easy. So the uh, team of investigators was selected by Path Seattle, Path people. They brought some students of Delhi University who were doing PG. They interviewed some of the, in fact, included some student from Banaras Hindu University also. So after facing all the problems, I had to train them for 7 days in rapid group ethnography, kind of ethnography which we practiced in India for the first time while doing this field work. So the girl who was here from Delhi University, she was a totally cosmopolitan kind of girl, and going to field for field work in Varanasi, that too in village area. That was my concern. So every now and then she would speak in English. So I'll remind her, repeat the sentence in Hindi. So she repeated the sentence. I suggested you please tie your hair when you are in field first. Second, you wear a salwar suit when you are going for a field work. So she had to purchase a salwar suit for field work in Varanasi and Chitrakoot area, which we were doing together. So appearance is totally important, because if you appear alien to the people with whom you are going to interact with next 1 month, the field work had continued for 21 days, they should be convinced and they should not be hesitant to communicate with you for any reason, be it appearance, be it language, or be it any other thing. So you have to just get totally submerged into their behavior, into their culture. So this was one point. So you have to take care of the appearance, of the language. Again, while conducting field work, and if it is a team work, you may face different kind of challenges also. Like this Delhi University girl, she was very good in uh, questioning, I would say. Throughout the 7 days, I observed that this girl is more capable of leading the team than the person whom Path had suggested that this will be field coordinator. So I said, can we change the field coordinator? They agreed to me, because one of the persons from Path was also with me throughout the training session. And the kind of conflict, this was a challenge for the field work, which, because it was going to affect our field work in a very bad way, though we did not permit it to happen, and we immediately took control of the situation. The situation was, when we decided that field coordinator will be this girl from this PG student from Delhi University. There was one girl in team. She was highly experienced. She had worked for various agencies, including United Nations agencies. as for data collection and in other capacities also. And she was working for various private organizations. So she had that image, self image, I would say, uh, that I should not be led by a PG student and I can lead the team. And I was not convinced that she can lead the team. And I said, no, it is not possible. We all are seeing since last 7 days her ability to question, and questioning is very important. Proper way of questioning and proper questions are important. So let her lead. We all are here for a teamwork, so there's no issue. She started writing letters to PATH officials, to BHU administration, and to the agency which had hired all of them in Delhi. And she created a kind of chaos, and we decided just remove her, because she was creating problem, and she might create problem on field also, where we will not be available. Because of corona, I had declined that I'll go to field, so the field investigators were going to field. So when you have to take care of this situation also, and if you see that situation is getting uh, derailed, you have to immediately take action while you are doing the field work. Again, the same girl who joined me for another consultancy, I invited her from Kolkata. Same situation I faced there also. There was a girl who was field coordinator, and she was data collection coordinator. So she used to question and ask her to go to field, because these parts need further data, and you are not doing properly, you're not collecting properly. And the girl, because she was senior to her and she was got fired, that why, who is she to question me? You can ask me, but who is she to question me? And again, the delicate situation I had to handle very tactfully. So you have to face challenges. As I was saying, that field has its own dynamic. You have to respond then and there to the dynamics of field situation. Now when we are in field, or when we are doing field work, there can be certain challenges related to respondents, and certain challenges related to the field also. Uh, the challenges, in fact, related to investigators also, which we were discussing. So, the challenges related to respondents. Uh, One of the challenges related to respondent is non availability. Suppose you are working in some village area, and your respondents are women of the village, particular village. So, getting them interviewed or talking to them becomes very difficult, because generally women are busy with the household work. Generally after household work, they take care of the field also, especially after climate change related impact, when people, male members of the family, young male members, those who are in working age group, migrate to city areas for job, livelihood diversification activity. So these women work on the field also. So talking to these women, finding time to talk to them becomes very difficult. You have to accompany them every where to interview them. So if you are a male member and you want to your respondents are female, you again have to face the difficulty, because you cannot uh, follow the female respondents wherever they are going. If you are a female data, in fact, a researcher or investigator, and you are studying female, there is no issue. You can go with the female wherever she is going. But if you're a male, that becomes a problem. Again, suppose you go to the home of the female respondents to talk to them. Generally, what happens in villages, there are joint families, especially mother-in-law or father-in-laws generally live with the family. So, in such cases, talking to daughter-in-law becomes very difficult. Even and if the question is of sensitive nature, uh, that your problem is going to increase, because there's somewhere in one of my research scholars, in fact, he was discussing his experience on field, and he was saying that asking questions about family life, family relationship is not taken in good spirit, because they think that you are going to uh, destroy their family relationship, and that is why you are asking these questions. So getting answer to these questions become very difficult if the issue is sensitive. And if you are talking to them in the presence of uh, male family members, generally female will respondents will not reply to your questions. It will be answered by the male members present there. So however hard you may try, you will rarely get a response from the female respondents, because they won't speak in the presence of the male members of the family. So you have to balance the situation here also, and talk to them whenever they are available, whenever you can talk to them. Or in fact, if you are in a team and a team of investigators, please take care of that the team is a balanced one. That means female investigator should be there, male investigator should be there, and if possible, take care of the caste factor also. All things should be balanced. If it you are forming a team for data collection, that will make your data collection work very easy, because in rural areas, caste is an important factor and gender is also equally important. So constituting a team of investigators that is balanced or balances all these categories will be helpful to certain level, to a great extent, I would say. So we were talking about the female respondents, and having female uh, investigator always pays, because she can talk to the female respondents easily. She can accompany them anywhere they go. She can talk to them in the presence of their male family members also. So all these things, the support of the respondents, their cooperation, non cooperation, everything decides the kind of data that you are collecting. So these things you should be careful about, and asking questions about sensitive issues. Suppose you are studying domestic violence, um, they're getting answer becomes very difficult. I have myself conducted studies on domestic violence, female feticide, and it was very, very difficult. The lady would never accept that her husband hits her, but you have to observe, you have to ask questions indirectly, so to reach to the fact you are looking for. Maybe you can talk to persons surrounding the respondent. You can cross check the fact uh, from neighbors, and you have to behave. In fact, you have to take care of all these things while you are collecting data. Like I was saying that while collecting data for female feticide in Varanasi, I was getting data. There was a gatekeeper, an NGO who works with the victims of gender based violence. So the NGO acted as gatekeeper, and I was the person who led the NGO or who is running the NGO, gave me the information, all the information I had, but I was going to interview after the information, collecting the information. And I knew that female infanticide, in fact, feticide, is being practiced by Muslim community and Christians also in Varanasi. But no respondent agreed to come forward to confirm what was informed by the NGO person. So I had to remove, because that study was for a specific reason. I had to remove that part uh, from my paper, because without uh, interacting with respondents, I could not claim that the data which I'm presenting is real data. So, this was a big challenge that I faced while conducting in fact, data collection work, while doing data collection in Varanasi on female feticide. There were other challenges also. I had to act as decoy customer, that I want to get the test done, and the doctors responded in multiple ways, but that is another story. So if you are studying some sensitive topic, you are going to face larger challenges that can hamper the research work also. Uh, I also did a field work related to call center for a project by the University Grants Commission, and interacting with the female employees of call center was nightmarish, because contacting them was not possible. Entering the company is not permitted. You have to talk to them when they are out for having tea, coffee, or lunch or dinner, or go to their home, which where you'll rarely find them, because they are rarely at home, call center employees. Night shift work, all these challenges which we already know. So the kind of issue we are taking, the challenge depends on the issue. There are some challenges that are general in nature, but there are certain challenges that depend on the issues we are studying. So after data collection, in fact, before data collection only, you have to uh, ensure that the data which you are going to collect will be confidential and it will not be misused. So gender issues in data collection in fieldwork we have already discussed, but that was mainly from the side of the respondents. I would like to share few examples from the side of the investigator also. Like I was saying that the Pat Seattle work and the Delhi University PG student. Unfortunately, when the work started, when we were under the process of training, there were few female candidates also, but gradually they left, and during the entire uh, course of this data collection and fieldwork, only that girl was present with us, and she has written her experience in the in fact shared experience and shared with us and in written form. So her experience was that when you are a female, uh, that too her kind of female, her kind of that, by that I means the appearance. Whatever you do to hide the appearance, it shows up somewhere. So that was a challenge first. uh, Being with going to the field, because the team was divided into two members each, and each lane was to be covered. So sometimes she used to separate from the male team member and go in a separate lane, and people used to look at her as if, who is she, what has happened to her, why is she alone here? So she was like going to some lane or someone's house without a male colleague was very difficult for her, because people used to think, one thing was fortunate for these field investigators, that was the gatekeeper was the CMO office of Varanasi, Chief Medical Officer. It was a government of Uttar Pradesh project. So government had managed everything. The ASHA workers, the government officials, everyone was there to ensure that data is collected properly. Panchayat leaders were contacted, local hospitals in those villages, primary healthcare centers, they were informed, everyone was informed. Still, the kind of issue that they had to this girl had to face, so the gender issue is there in data collection also. uh, if you are collecting data, then also, if data is being collected, then also, and if you are interacting, then also. So gender issue is important in field work. Many a times that girl had to call one of the male colleagues to make the villagers believe that she is not alone. They used to think that maybe these boys, they are dominating this girl, maybe she's facing some financial issue, maybe she is facing this and that issue. So they were very very doubtful, and this girl, despite showing identity, despite saying that I'm coming through this and this channel, this doubt persisted till last week of this data collection. So making them believe, the villagers who already knew about their presence, was very difficult for this girl. And then again, field work was nearly 40 kilometers away, some of the areas, because we covered wide range of villages, and some of the villages were nearly 40 kilometers away from Varanasi, where field workers, male field workers, used to go by their bikes. Getting auto or any public conveyance during corona days was not possible, so everything was shut down, and they used to refuse to take her with them on bikes to that but so far a village, which is 40 kilometers away or 50 kilometers away, and she had to stay back and do some other kind of work or join them online through phone. So all these issues are there when you are going to collect data. So gender issues equally matters. I may not be in fact, looking at time, I'll not take go into further detail of gender issues. Now coming to data collection related practical concerns and ethical concerns. So like when we are going for collection of data, obviously we are looking for high quality of data, because we inaccurate data or incomplete data, data that leads to, in fact, inaccurate and incomplete data will lead to uh, uh, wrong kind of interpretation. It will not give you the proper picture. So if the data quality is not proper, everything is wasted, right from your training to your time to the fund you invested. So you look for good quality of data. So is it that easy to get good quality of data? Despite setting targets, as I was saying that field work is a field. It has its own dynamic. Anything can go wrong anytime. So you have to be prepared for not meeting the targets also. Like I was saying that we had used rapid group ethnography for the first time in India. Yes, it was used first for the first time in India. Before that, it was used in Nepal. It was being used simultaneously in Nepal, but the field work had started first in Nepal. So they were using it before we started using it. So we had combined 6 different methods, and one of the method was quick survey. And quick survey was only 5 questions we had given them. Each respondent had to complete a target of 50 surveys in one day. By the time leave the field, they should have completed. If I remember it correctly, it was 50 or maybe lesser than 50. So doing this quick survey, completing target of filling 50 this short survey questions, answering the getting answer to 5 questions also was very difficult, because they were practicing many techniques at the same time, like transact walk. They transact walk was like taking a walk of the area, any road they could have taken, that they were free to do that. And if they come across someone who knows about the area or who can give information, they started interacting with them. Even if someone was of this kind was not available, they had to interact so that they know the situation. So combining all the methods in one day, so setting this target of 50 was too much for them, and I totally understood their situation. Even 5 questions, filling those 50 questionnaire, uh, was very difficult for them, and they could not many a times complete the target or meet the target. So unmet targets are another challenge that we face when we go to the field. We may have planned that we are going to so much do so much work today, and this is our target, but our target is not in our hand to a great extent. It depends on many things, including how many investigators are there in the team, uh, how many surveys can actually be accomplished in a day, and other questions also. How the quality of data is going to be affected if we hurry in fieldwork. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. So is it that should we stop setting targets? No, definitely not. Otherwise, will definitely be derailed. So setting target is important. Important. Meeting the target set is also important. But if you're not able to do that, don't get disappointed. Maybe extend the work for a few more days or hire more investigator. So this kind of situation you may face, and your work, data collection work, may increase unnecessarily. Days may increase, because that is not in your control. You cannot control the field situation. Then again, capturing the field data while you are interacting with the respondents is a big challenge, because if you talk to the persons and at the same time you are writing also, it is difficult. You have to maintain the eye contact for getting proper data, for making them feel important. Respondents might not be, in fact, they should not be annoyed. So, for that, you have to make them feel comfortable, make them feel important. So, while collecting data, you cannot look at your copies and talk to the person and the person is answering, you are writing down. That is not possible, and this is not a proper way of data collection. So the investigators should be trained or were trained in taking chicken notes. Chicken notes means when the notes is taken while you are interacting with the respondents, looking at the respondents, talking to them. You have your copy in your hand, your pen in your hand, you are taking continuously note, but you are looking at the respondent. So the kind of handwriting which you'll see is like a chicken who has gone to some dirty area, maybe some muddy area, and then walks on the paper. The image which you you'll get is like chicken notes, in fact imply for that kind of notes, where even you will not be able to understand what you have written if you immediately don't clarify you the note. So what we had trained while training, we had chicken note they had to continuously take, but immediately after interacting with one person, they had to sit for 5 minutes and clarify the note little more, so that they understand. And while return after return, they had to prepare expanded note and then fill all the data in a Google form which we had circulated. So the data of the same day was being directly submitted to Path Office, to me, and to University of Washington. All three of us were getting data on the same day. That was very challenging for the respondents, because they not only had to so this kind of challenge is important for research scholars also. When you are going for field work, take chicken notes, but don't leave it for longer period. If you are leaving it for longer period, you'll not be able to make sense of whatever is there, whatever you have written. So expanding the note, field note, is the first thing you should do when you return from the field work. Otherwise, you may think that you have been to the field, you know the situation, you know what you have to write. Why to take field notes when we'll sit for writing PhD work? I'll remember all these things. Don't think so, because you are not going to remember any of these issues after few days, not to talk about writing PhD thesis. So taking field notes is very important. Expanding it is very important. Again, taking field notes is very, very subjective, because it depends on the person who is collecting the field work. What is important to that person? Despite training, they might miss important points. So that researcher's eye should be there, and it comes by experience only. It cannot come in one day. So what is important, what to which kind of note to take, what to take or what to leave, all these things are important, and each researcher will be different. And because it is subjective, their notes will be selective, they may not be able to capture everything. So if you find, after collecting data, taking field notes, you might miss certain things that it was important and you could not discuss the issue, then you can go to the field again to fill those gaps. That is very important. Look at the data collected. If something is missing, return to the field and fill the gap which you had left. So this is very important. Again, one challenge comes from positionality and reflexivity. We all belong to some gender, we all belong to some caste, we all belong to certain areas. So, all these decide the positionality that the researcher has. Uh, like taking my example, I am a female. One position, I come from certain caste, another position. I am educated, again another position. I am employed in a good job, again another position. So all these positions decide our the way we will look at the phenomenon. Generally, nowadays, declaring positionality is the statement has become very important, and that is the reason you should practice reflexivity while doing field work, continuously analyzing what is reflexivity. Positionality, we understand, we come from certain background, and that is our positionality, and we might not be able to understand the problem which the people in other positions, which are other which we have not experienced, we may not be able to understand their problem properly. So we have to take note of the positionality, declare our positionality statement when we are writing our work, and be reflexive throughout the process of data collection and research work. How to be reflexive? Continuously evaluating whether your own opinion, your own prejudices, biases, your own positions is affecting the research work in any way. Are you neutral enough? How the context is being influenced, how you are trying to influence the researcher, or how you are being influenced. All these things come under reflexivity. So you have to be reflexive continuously when you are collecting data in field. And we only have 3 minutes, so we'll just discuss the ethical issues which is very important in field work, because we have to involve in ethical practices, and it is not only related to informed consent. When we go to field for field work, uh, we inform them and obtain informed consent. It might be verbal also, it might be written also. It is better to have written consent, but the ethical issues extend beyond this also, like privacy, ensuring the privacy of data, ensuring the privacy of person is important. This is an issue of ethical nature. Again, are you causing harm? Any of your deeds, is it causing harm? Like, suppose you are, let us take example from medical field. You are testing some medicine that might harm the individual. Did you inform the respondents, the person who is there to get the medicine tested, that what are the harms of the medicine? So this is also a ethical, one of the ethical considerations. Exploitation is again an ethical issue, because what happens sometimes during the process of interaction, you get too close to the some of the respondents, not to all respondents. You might get close to the respondents and that might lead to exploitation of the respondent, or your own exploitation by the respondent in due course of time. Maybe money wise exploitation, maybe any exploitation of any other nature. So all these are ethical considerations that we practice while we are doing research, other than taking only informed consent by the participants. So doing field work is very important, very interesting, and it has been many a times romanticized also. It is very important. In fact, people think that doing field work is something that is very, very adventurous, very such kind of thoughts are there. But what are the challenges of fieldwork? We should definitely write down when we are writing uh, about the fieldwork or the work which we did. With these words, I would like to stop. So maybe if we have some questions, we can take it. Anthropologists
There is some
and
question.
yeah, okay. So the first question is, what are the challenges which I can see on my screen is what are the challenges of doing fieldwork that anthropologists may face? Uh, Doing fieldwork by anthropologists, it's not that it is different from fieldwork which we do in sociology or most of the social science fieldwork. Only it depends on the nature of because yes, ethnography we practice when we are doing anthropological fieldwork. But nowadays anthropology has also been combined with multiple uh, issues. In fact, multiple variants of anthropology is available. Like I was talking about rapid group ethnography, which we did and combined three different methods. Ethnography and survey, you can never think of combining, but we did it though and practiced it very successfully in Varanasi and Chitrakoot area in eastern UP region. So the same kind of challenges the anthropologists will also face. Only difference will be when you participate in the uh, life of the community you are going to study. Participant observation might be difficult because staying with them, uh, observing them closely, if you have that much time, you can do it. Otherwise, generally, this kind of anthropological or ethnography, which the earlier anthropologists practiced, it is difficult nowadays, and generally people have combined multiple ways of doing evolved multiple methods of doing and ethnography. Team ethnography is another way of doing ethnography. Rapid group ethnography is another way of doing ethnography. So all these things are there, and we are changing with the changing times. So hope I answered your question. Another question which I can see is, what is the alien culture is rural area? uh, no, alien culture, why by alien culture I mean like Michigan State University people who come to for fieldwork to India every year. So, and they come with their students, UG student, not even PG student. These no PG student. So they come with their PG students, and they are on the field every day. So, for people of Michigan State University, there are Indians in their team also, but those Indians are the Indians who are living in USA since last three generations. So they are more a US person than an Indian. So if they are coming to this alien culture, means a culture to which we are not familiar with. So if we are going to such culture, it can be in India also, like we are living in city areas. Suppose we have to go to live with certain tribal population. In fact, I was talking to one of the researcher. uh, I plan to collect data related to climate change and global warming, and how indigenous population of India, they are crucial in mitigating the impact of climate change. What are their indigenous practices? I wanted to collect data related to that. And one tribe was, nothing goes there. You have to walk there, and it's a hill area. and it takes almost 7 to 8 hours to reach that village, and to return also you have to walk for that much time. So this kind of culture with whom mainstream society is not familiar, we the part of mainstream society, we are not familiar with their culture. That is alien culture, anything which we are not familiar with. What are the disadvantages of ethnographic fieldwork? Uh, Disadvantages, I would not say that ethnographic, for me, ethnographic fieldwork, only disadvantage can be your time, the money constraint, the it will be related to you only as field investigator. Otherwise, the kind of data you will collect by using ethnography, uh, it is something, because you are somewhere part of the society, part of the community, and if you are a part of a community, you get proper data, you get real data, because you are observing everything by being part of that community. One of my research scholars is going to be part of one of the tribal community for one festival, which starts on April 1st, and she is writing paper, in fact, for International Sociological Association conference. The topic is related to tribal issue, and she has to submit it to ICSSR. So, and submitting it in April would not serve any purpose. So she is only submitting the theoretical part, and after she goes to field and participates in that festival, spring festival, they have one of the tribes of Jharkhand. They organize every year a spring festival. So the research scholar is planning to become part of that festival, and I don't think any disadvantage will be there if you are participating. And if you are practicing rapid group ethnography, I did not find any disadvantage, because somewhere very quickly we gathered large amount of data. In 21 days, we had so much of data that working on the data required sitting with the data for nearly next 15 days. So, other than disadvantages related to you, the investigator, there should not be any disadvantage related to ethnographic fieldwork, especially if you are involved in qualitative study. Obviously, if you are doing ethnography, that means you are involved in qualitative studies. Any other question?
No question, ma'am. Due to lack of time, we cannot take many questions today.
Okay.
Such a interesting, valuable discussion. Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving us your time in such a busy time. So, discussion, end of discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Bye.